Welcome back, and yes, you are still watching Unleashing Your Potential with myself, Coach Toriso. Today we are on Leadership's Corner, and we are talking about what can we do to change Africa's leadership dilemma. And before the break, Ubaba was explaining to us actually what is leadership, what it takes to be a leader. Mr. Mwale?
Yes, ma'am. Maybe let me just echo what he just mentioned. Leadership, listening is key. And it's a skill, actually.
Yeah.
It is something that we all might want to invest into learning because very few of us actually have the ability to listen. When you look at social media, it's exposing us to ourselves, the need in our lives to be heard, you know, but very few people are listening. It's almost as if everyone is wanting to talk. Everyone wants to talk. Everyone wants to express themselves, but very few people are actually willing to listen and really listen good. So I think that is one thing that we need to work on. From childhood, most of us, we are never taught how to listen. We are taught how to speak. And the first thing that our parents do is say, daddy. You must.
Mama.
You're never taught how to listen. You are always taught how to speak. And so when the child begins to speak, as long as they are hearing, now hearing and listening are two different things. Listening is having the ability to understand what is being talked about, to conceptualize. And so I think we need to have leaders or people that can do that. And leadership is not a position, it is not a title. And most of the people that we have in positions of power and influence, they just have the position, you know, and unfortunately, most of these guys that we're having are just people that are not leading anyone. They're not even leading themselves. They're not leading their families. They're not leading anything. They just have positions and big offices and big checks at the end of the day, but they are not leading. Leading is not something that you do. It is something that you are. And when you lead, you should not just look over your shoulder to see how many people are following you. You should look over your shoulder to see what is happening in the lives of the people that are behind you. What is happening in the lives of the followers? It is not just about how many people are following you, how many people are gathering around you. It is about what is happening in their lives. Is there any change? Is there anything significant that is taking place in the lives of the people that are following you? So yes, for me, leadership is actually influence. We need to influence individuals, we need to influence families, communities, and we need to influence people towards their destiny.
Wow, that is beautiful, that is powerful. Now we're talking about the dilemma that Africa is facing.
Yes.
What is the dilemma? What is the dilemma in Africa?
My older brother has a lot to say about that.
You know, I'm not scared of nightmares when I go to bed. I'm not scared of a thug who might jump over the wall and try to take what doesn't belong to them.
Yeah.
I am scared that, you know, remember, this continent is bequeathed to us by our forebears who fought difficult wars with the advent of colonialism. They were doing it to protect it for us. And they have given it to us. We are looking after this continent for the next generation, and they haven't given us the permission to do so, and we're messing it up. Africa's leadership, 60 years later, you still have an Africa where people are disconnected. There's a big disconnect in this continent. The fact that I sit here and I say just because I say to people, I am of Zulu stock, but in my DNA, I have a DNA that starts from the north of Africa to the south. So I belong here. So the disconnect that is happening is pushed by the very people that we have. Because if they keep us divided, then they'll be able to achieve the goal they want. You have leaders. 60 years later, we have not solved the problem of education in this continent. We are not upskilling people. Africa is not able to trade with itself. We are disconnected. I should be able to go to Park Station and get into a train and take a train ride to Lilongwe. But 60 years later, Africa has not been able to do that. Some of the best minerals are here. But what do you have? You have people who are not leaders. Mwale is correct. We have people who are not leaders, but people who have been given big offices, and they have big egos, but the brain is smaller than that of a fly. I'm not afraid to say that, because they are not. No, their focus is on themselves. Because if you want to build a country, your allegiance is not to the political party or to the a person outside who's funding you. Your allegiance is to the people of your country.
Yes.
Because if you train them, if you give them good access to health, if you give them good access to education, then you have a population that will increase your tax base.
Power to that. Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
It's getting hot in here.
Yeah.
It gets me worked up.
It should. And when you talk about being worked up, I think that the problem, the issue, the reason why you get worked up is because you are connected to what you are saying. You and the things that you're talking about are one. You are actually passionate about what you're talking about. So it is not something you're going just to speak with a flat tone. Like we hear some of these heads of state when they speak, so boring. Not that we want to just get excited, but you can see that the guy is not even thinking about the things that he's saying. It's just a speech and he wants to say, I made the speech and it is done. What we need is people that are actually passionate about this continent.
Yeah.
So I would like maybe to just talk about something a bit different from what he has just talked about. The dilemma, in fact, it's diverse, it's big. But what I want to just contribute to this discussion is the fact that one of the problems is that the issue of undue and over-dependence on the countries that we call the big powers, the superpowers, the colonial masters. We depend on them for everything. When will this child grow up? When will Africa grow up?
Yeah.
When shall we begin to manage our own affairs? There is this dependency. It's just so pathetic. It is bad, actually, that we have to continue depending on the West for everything that we need. Even thinking itself, we have to let other people think for us. It's a crisis. You know, so we have that as one problem. On the other hand, ideologies. These are ideas and ideals that people have chosen to govern themselves by. But what are we using?
Yeah.
None of our own. We talk about Ubuntu, but there's no Ubuntu in our lives. We don't do it. It is just there in our minds. It's on our lips, but we don't do it. That is a very powerful ideology. But we borrow, we have subcontracted all the ideologies from the West, and we're using them here. Now, that is the danger. The danger with that is that we are doing things that are not natural to us, that are not original to us. We tell people and we advise young people to do courses, for example, when they go to varsity, to do courses that have to do with who they really are naturally. And to do jobs that actually have to do with who they really are themselves. Why can't we do that on that level as well? That we should come up with ideologies. Ubuntu, umoja in Swahili, that talks about unity. And yet we still fail to attain the unity of Africa. And the reason is simple, because we say these things, yet the blueprint that we are using has been given to us. We are being told what to do.
Wow.
And our leaders are not ready yet. We have not grown yet to a point where we are ready to lead this continent to the next phase of its life.
It's really heated in the studio, guys. And I'm asking you this question. Are you an African or are you a Western person? They are talking about the dilemma that we're facing here in Africa. And let's hear more from them after the break.